song is the fourth song on the record. It's called Hand in Hand, and it's a good way of exploring a concept that is very simple. Like, let me just switch channels here so we don't get so much background noise. It's a very simple concept that will really help you get out of, you know, the composition blocks that you might have. The concept is very simple. This progression is where the song is in C major, well, C mixolydian, but we can think of it as C major for now, for those of you who don't know the modes. And the chords are really simple. Let's just look at the chord, at the verse. We're playing C, and then we're playing G, and then we're playing this chord, which is B flat major. Okay, and we'll get back to this, and then F. And then for the bridge we have A minor, F, and then again C and B flat, and so on. So very simple chords, and except for this B flat, they all fit C major. Alright, so the main idea with this song was to have a very simple chord progression, and then use the melody to create interest, and just leaving the chords as simple as possible. So the song will be as direct and hopefully as emotional as possible, without you having to think about, oh, what it's doing with the rhythm tracks and so on. So that was achieved by really just using very simple chords. But when I was composing it, I really needed some movement between sections, because, you know, if you have a song that's pretty much all the same, it's not all the same, but, you know, it doesn't move so much. You do need some push once in a while. And so there's a really cool resource you can use, which is the flat 7th chord. In C major, if you use the 7th chord, you should be using this kind of chord, a diminished chord. It could be a regular diminished chord. It could be a diminished a semi-diminished, which is also called minor 7 flat 5, right? Or something like that. But it has to be a diminished chord. I didn't want to use that because it's really dissonant, and it would take away from what I was looking to get, which was a very simple chord progression. And so I went to the flat 7th chord. So the idea is very simple. If you have a diminished chord, you have C, I'm sorry, in the key of C, you have B, you have the minor third, which is D, and the minor third on top of that, which is the diminished fifth of B, which is F. So you have B, D, F. Now these three notes fit C major, so you can use them freely in C major, but when you put them together, you have this weird interval, which is between the B, which is the root of the chord, and the F, which is the fifth. And that's called a tritone. It's 3 tones, 3 whole steps. And it sounds very dissonant, as you can hear. And that's why it's not very much used. And from jazz players especially, there's all kinds of options to replace this chord, or to use it, you know, wisely. But in rock and you know, hard rock, it's very difficult to be using that, because to be using this wisely, you need to add a lot of extensions and a lot of chord progression, a lot of voice leading, and there's simply no place, no room for it in rock and roll, and usually there's no time for it because you're playing so fast, you know, and distortion doesn't help with complex chords, as you might have noticed. And so one great option that comes from jazz, but it's really easy to apply in rock, is to take the 7th chord, which is a diminished chord, which would sound like this. I'm sorry, like this. Okay? And what you do is you drop the root 1/2 step. So instead of playing B, D, F, you play B flat, D, F. What this does is it transforms a diminished chord into a major chord. Right? Now this sounds a lot more manageable. The only problem with this is that you'll be out of the key, alright? So when you play C major, you play G, that's fine. You play F afterwards, and that's fine too. But when you play the B flat, you'll be outside of C major, just by one note only. So instead of playing B, you can play B flat. There's a scale for this, which is called the mixolydian scale. So for those of you who know the modes, you could actually be playing B mixolydian on top of the whole progression. But there are other problems, because when you play G, the G includes a B, and so you won't be able to. So for pretty much anybody, the best advice you can take is to use whatever key you're in. Use the main key for all the chords. In this case we're in C major. But when you go to the flat 7th chord, like in this case, drop the 7th. So play C major. But when you go to the chord that has a B flat, okay, play this. Now what this does, besides making the solo fit and the melody fit, it actually helps you because it gives you one more note. So you can use that wisely, and you know, you can think about it with your, you know, and use your ears to really use that note in a way that is important, that it adds certain dissonance in a point. Maybe it falls into the next note when you go back to the scale. Maybe it brings you up to the next note when you change key again. So it's very important that you are aware of what the note is. Don't just go on top of the scale and go like, oh well, now I have to play a B flat. You know, use that B flat wisely. I'm not saying I used it wisely, but if you want to see an example of how to use it, you can check out this song. It's called Hand in Hand. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.